Welcome back to another episode of things, stuff I create and I review. I'm your host and my name is Matthew. So I just got done watching Google I/O 2016. Today was the first day. They released some awesome news, some awesome information, new technology, and I wanted to quickly go over everything that I understood coming from day one and let you guys know all the cool things that are bound to be. First, they talked about this thing called Google Assistant. And Google Assistant is an ongoing conversation with the user. And it's going to be able to learn from you, and it's going to be able to understand context and be able to learn your likes, your dislikes, preferences, the way you talk. I mean, it's gonna just learn you as a person, and it's personalized for each individual user. The more and more you use it, the better and better that Google Assistant becomes. We will come back to Google Assistant a couple more times, but for now we'll move on. So next they talked about Google Home. And Google Home is going to be a device that you put in your home, and it's going to be in-home assistant because Google Assistant is built into Google Home. It will be released later this year, and it will have a nice, simple, but yet elegant design. And it comes in different colors, so you don't have to worry about it not matching your decor. It'll fit in nicely. And the nice thing about it is that you can put multiple Google Homes within your home. It's going to have a Bluetooth speaker, and from what I understand, it's going to be on par with most of the other Bluetooth speakers that are on the market currently, so you can expect a good sound. It comes with a microphone, obviously, so you can have Google conversations and ask Google questions. You can play music through the cloud, but you can also use your phone and use Google Cast. Managing your tasks is going to become a very simple thing when you have Google Home. Google Home, you're going to be able to ask about your current schedules, your kids' schedules. You're going to be able to ask about reservations, meetings. You can change reservations. You can make reservations for restaurants, for movies. You'll also be able to handle text messages, make phone calls. You'll be able to ask Google Home to play a YouTube video and have it turn on your TV and play on your TV. To get the full experience of Google Home, you're going to need a smart house. You can obviously do it, just like if you have some Bluetooth speakers that will work with Google Home, and if you have a smart TV, you can definitely get some use out of Google Home. But in order to get the full use to where Google Home will turn off your lights, change your temperature, security, all that stuff, you're going to have a smart house. Moving on, communication apps. We have two apps, Allo, A-L-L-O, and Duo, D-U-O. And they're basically sibling apps from what I understand. The first app, Allo, is a messaging app, and that messaging app learns from you. Coming back to Google Assist is built in, so obviously that's what's going to be learning from you, and it's going to be able to do so many things for you, which are subtle changes and massive changes. So we'll start off with the subtle changes. Now, they wanted to make it, instead of you having to always type in capital letters to get a point across or to maybe yell or shout, now they have a feature called Whisper Shout. And Whisper Shout is basically a font size slider. They're also releasing the feature Ink. And Ink's going to allow you to write on your pictures. That's basically what it does. Small feature. The greatest feature of all is going to be smart replies. Now, I said Google Assistant's built in, and this is where Google Assistant comes into play. Google Assistant's going to give you smart replies. So instead of having to type out a response, these smart replies are going to allow you to just tap and continue going. Now, at first, I will say that these are probably going to be generic. So smart replies also works on photos, and so say someone sends you a picture of something that is tasty food, send you a nice picture of strawberries. Now, in the beginning, Google Assistant doesn't know you yet, doesn't know how you talk yet, so she'll probably just give you a generic response, as in, that looks tasty. Now, you might say that, but a lot of people might say something different. So after a while, Google Assistant, after I type in my responses to these questions, is going to have a better understanding for the way that you talk and what words you use, and she'll be able to then give you better replies so it sounds more natural and it sounds like something you would say. Now, on top of smart replies, Google Assistant is also going to be able to interact in your conversation. So say you are making plans to go out to eat. They'll say, where do you want to go eat? Now, as soon as they ask that question, Google Assistant is going to comprehend it, what is going on in the conversation, and Google Assistant's actually going to offer you suggestions of nearby restaurants. And if you so choose one of those choices, then Google Assistant will then also make reservations for you and ask you how many people and what time you want to go. And you can do all that without even leaving the app. And I think that the other cool feature about this is if you type at Google and then ask Google what you want, you can directly communicate with Google while in your conversation on Allo. Which means, say you want to take your girlfriend to the beach, and before you want to ask her about going to the beach, you kind of want to get her excited. So what you do is you type at Google, and then you would say, show me pictures of Laguna Beach. Now what's going to happen is that Google Assistant is going to pull up pictures of Laguna Beach, and everyone in the conversation can now see these pictures. And so it's going to bring a more interactive way communicating with people if you can directly communicate with Google and have Google search things for you, and then both parties can see it. It's just a communication tool, and really that's what this app's all about, is communication. Now also, and lastly, in this app, you can have a direct conversation with Google. You're going to be able to ask her many questions. You can ask her to play videos. You can even ask her to play games. And so by doing this, you're going to be able to help Google Assistant yet again continue to learn you and understand your likes, dislikes, what you're into, and how you speak. Because Google Assistant is being incorporated in all these different aspects now, Google Assistant is going to become a very big part of the experience of just being a Google user. So the next app is Duo. And Duo is the partner app to Allo. Allo is the messaging app, and Duo is going to be the video calling app. Now, one of the great features that sets Duo apart from all of these other video calling apps is a feature called Knock Knock. Now, Knock Knock is a feature that's going to be for two types of people. There's going to be the person who really likes to know why people are calling before they answer, and you also got the people who want to get people engaged in the conversation before they call. So what Knock Knock does is it sends live feed of what you're recording to the person that you are also calling at the same time. So when the person looks down at their phone when they're receiving a call, they're going to see what's going on in the video call before they even have to choose to answer or to reject the call. So say Jim just proposed to Sarah, and Sarah just got this beautiful ring, and of course she wants to tell her friend right away, her best friend, so she gets on Duo and she sets up that knock knock feature, and what she's doing is she's holding her phone up to her hand showing the ring. And so when Mandy looks down at her phone, she's going to see Sarah's hand with a ring on it, which immediately is probably going to tell her, hey, what's going on? Did Jim propose? She's going to probably be freaking out, and she's going to answer the phone. So it's just a way to engage the person before even having them answer the phone to then find out what's going on. Both apps are going to have great security. They're going to feature incognito mode, which just kind of deletes conversations after you're done having a conversation. Duo is also going to have a feature where it is always searching for the best signal, whether it's Wi-Fi or a data signal, to give you the best video quality. Now both of these apps are going to be available on Android and iOS, and they are coming this summer. So with these two new apps coming out, that begs the question, what's going to happen with Google Hangouts? Because if Google is really pushing for this new messaging app and this new video calling app, what does that leave for Hangouts? So now what a lot of people are excited for is the new version of Android N. Android N is going to be released later this year, but right now they actually don't have a name for Android N, and they're actually asking for everyone's help to give suggestions. So you can go to www.android.com/N, and it's going to bring you to a site where you can give your suggestion. A lot of people are saying they want Android Nutella. I think that you could maybe go Neapolitan. I know they did ice cream already, but that could be something, or nectarine. So Android N's going to see some performance changes. What the fuck? Changes. So Android N is going to be seeing some performance changes, and they're going to be adding a new thing called Vulkan 3D graphics. It's going to lower the requirements of CPU needed, and it's going to give developers more control over the graphics that they are able to put in their applications. They're also going to be upgrading the Android runtime. They're going to be adding something called JIT compiler, and JIT compiler is going to allow for faster application installation, and it's also going to reduce the memory requirements of applications by 50%. Next, they're going to be changing the way that updates work. They're going to be making updates automatic, and they're going to change the actual way that updates look when they're updating. They're going to be improving their security, which is going to be file-based encrypting and media framework hardening, and there'll also be some other security updates. Multitasking. Now, a lot of phones actually already have this feature, but not all phones support it. So with Android N, they're going to be allowing any phone with Android to use these features. Multi-window is one of the features of multitasking. You're going to be able to hold down that recent button, and while you're in an app, you're going to be able to pull up another app. So that's going to be really convenient for multitasking. Now that feature is going to be for cell phones and tablets. But the smart TV also is getting a feature. It's called Picture in a Picture. And that's going to allow you, the example they gave was, say you're watching a video on Pac-Man because you want to get the Pac-Man app for your TV, but you wanted to check it out. And while you're checking out that video, you're like, hey, I think I'm gonna go get it. But you don't want to necessarily leave the video that you're currently in to go get it. So what you're gonna be able to do is you're gonna minimize the screen that you're currently in into a small picture. And that picture is going to continue to play and allow you to continue to watch it, but in the background, now you can go download that app and you can have a different screen displaying while you're doing so. So that's Picture in a Picture, and that's for the smart TVs. Also, another feature that they're going to have is going to be kind of this bouncing feature, where if you double tap your recent button, it is going to just pull up your most recent application you were just in. And then if you double tap it again, it's going to go back to that app you were just in. So it's going to allow you to bounce back and forth. If you don't want to have two windows open, you can just double tap your recent button and it will pull up your most recent window. Also, to help save potentially your battery and your speedier phone, before this change, usually you can have like tabs open for ages, and your tabs will just stay open in your recent folder, and most people don't go all the way back. So what this new feature is going to do is basically put a time limit on your open tabs. After a while, they will just close them for you because most likely you're never going to go back. So that's going to help make it so your phone doesn't bog down so easily. Also, they're adding a feature where basically going to give you the ability to change the options on your notification settings just by long holding a notification that you get. And then lastly, they're just going to be updating the emojis and giving you more emojis. So that wraps it up for Android N, but certainly not the end of the day. And another thing that they had talked about was this thing called Android Instant Apps. And what Android Instant Apps allows you to do is go into applications without actually having to install them. So if you wanted to make a purchase and that purchase wanted you to purchase it through the app, you're still going to be able to go into the app and you'll be able to purchase that thing through the app without actually having to install the app. Now this is going to be a really great feature for emerging markets, because right now, at least in the United States, they're increasing the memory cap in phones, so storage is not an issue. But in emerging markets where companies are selling cheaper smartphones and memory is still an issue, not having to actually install a bunch of apps and just being able to go in and still use the app is a great thing for these emerging markets. From the app, you can simply install the app when you're using instant apps. Now it sounds like with Android Instant Apps, you're going to be able to set up your information. So if you go to a different app that you don't have installed and you want to buy something, you don't have to put in your card information or all your information, because Android Instant app is already going to have all your information. And lastly, they said that Android Instant apps will work all the way back to Jelly Bean. So if you do have an older phone, you can still use the application. So what's next for virtual reality? So it sounds like it's going to be a fall release, and it's going to be Android and integrated. It's also going to come with a new headset and a new remote. Now, the changes, they wanted to go for immersion. So it sounded like they were going to be upgrading the technology that causes lag when you move your head and as the image is loaded, so it's more smooth, so it doesn't feel like you're looking at your phone or a device, you're actually looking out into the world. And then they're gonna also try to improve the comforts of the headset itself. Now, the feature inside of the virtual reality headset is called Daydream, and Daydream is going to be for Android users. What they're going to be changing with the VR is that they're going to be increasing the sensors and the graphics, and they're going to be trying to get that latency down to nothing. And your devices are going to be able to let you know if you are Daydream ready. So it sounds like when you put on your virtual reality headset, it's going to bring you into Daydream, and the Daydream is going to have its own Google Play Store just for virtual reality apps. You're going to have the ability to have TV streaming in your virtual reality headset. You're going to have a lot of major networks giving you the ability to stream TV, including Hulu, HBO, Netflix, ESPN. And you also have big name developers and independent developers working on games and applications for the headset. You'll also be able to use Street View and view maps, and they are completely rebuilding YouTube for the new headset. And developers currently can start developing applications for the headset with the developer's preview. So the next topic is going to be Android wearables, and this is going to be the last topic that I go too in depth with because of the fact that the rest of the information and the new features that were coming out are for developers. I'll still go over the last few things, but I just wanted to let you know that I wasn't going to go into great detail. So Android Wear is updating to 2.0 platform, and they want to make it so you can show any app's information on any of the faces. They're also going to make it so if you tap the screen, you can get to your other notifications quickly. They're introducing Smart Reply, a new keyboard, and also handwriting with text recognition. It's going to come with Google Fit and has automatic fitness tracking, which means if you start running and going for a run, you don't have to do anything. It'll just automatically understand and sense that you are becoming active, and it'll start recording. And while you're working out or jogging, you can launch music. There's no longer a need for your phone to be with you while you go out exercising. All you need is your watch. They're trying to make it so apps can stand alone, so the watch can stand alone, and if your watch has a cellular signal, then you can run your watch off of that. And that was basically all the updates for the Android wearables. Alright, so we're moving on to the last two topics, and these last two topics are for developers. So the first one is called Android Studio. They said 92% of the apps that you find on Google Play Store were created with Android Studio. They say it's going to be 10 times faster, the emulators are going to be 3 times faster, you can do test recording, build layouts faster, it's just going to be easier to use in general. It just sounds like the whole program is just going to be faster. They have a new APK analyzer, a new layout inspector, and many more features. That's Android Studio. And the last topic is Firebase. It's also another program for developers to help you build your application. Firebase is built for apps. It'll give you analytics. It's free and unlimited for iOS and Android. Notifications, cloud messaging. There's crash supporting to help you build a higher quality app. You can do remote testing of new configurations. And the new Firebase is actually available today. So if you're a developer, go ahead and check it out. So that wraps it up for day 1 Google I/O. Thank you for joining me, and if you like it, please give it a subscribe, and you'll definitely be seeing more content. And I'll see you guys later.